These are the next generation of Chinese pilots. And unlike most aspiring pilots in China, they're doing it through a private training school.
I started as a flight attendant, so I've been working in the airline industry for quite a while. I wanted to realise my full potential, so I paid my own way to learn how to fly.
Jiansheng is now a flight instructor at this school in Beijing. This is training for recreational pilots, which is still very rare in China. For a very small but growing number of aspiring pilots, these types of private flying schools are being seen as a foundation to go on and join the big airlines.
I think general aviation has a very bright future. Right now, it's like bamboo roots after the rain. It's a very competitive market. Once we graduate, there is a lot of potential for jobs in this industry.
China's aviation industry is expanding with remarkable speed. Some analysts now predict the number of passengers will surpass the US domestic market within 5 years. US manufacturer Boeing predicts Chinese carriers will need to buy 7,000 new planes over the next 2 decades.
There's a huge pilot shortage in China. It's developing fast and entering a new era, and it's experienced captains that we really lack. Many come here from Australia, the US, South Korea and Europe, but there's still a big shortage.
Australia has been a key part of the solution. China has more than 50 airlines, and they mostly train up the country's commercial pilots. And at least 3 of them send students to Australia. Laurie is a retired pilot who's now setting up a new training school on the Gold Coast specifically for Chinese trainees.
We see there's a hole for that. So right now we foresee, and I spent 20 years odd in Hong Kong, and my partner is still in China right now. He lives in China, and we can see that there's a need for this and we can actually fill it.
In recent years, 3 major Chinese airlines have bought small Australian flight schools to train pilots. Laurie says training Chinese students in Australia comes with a downside.
Hainan Airlines has got some schools at Port Macquarie. I think it's China Eastern. They've got Meriden in Western Australia. There's another Chinese airline at Jandakot, and they're buying some rural towns flying training schools, which is great for them. Unfortunately, it doesn't help the Australian pilot training very much because those schools will now train mainly Chinese pilots, not Australian pilots.
Back in Beijing, the instructors at this flight school are hopeful Chinese authorities will further loosen regulations that could allow for more grassroots training. But even if they do, it's clear China's huge demand for pilots means many more will need to be trained in Australia and other countries for a very long time to come. Bill Birtles, ABC News, Beijing.